Hello CS112. Today I'll be doing a quick walkthrough of Lab 0, which has to do with downloading Python, downloading a text editor to write code in, and ultimately running a Python file in that text editor via your command prompt or terminal. Lab 0 is not graded, but it is required that you submit it. And I will be doing this walkthrough on a Windows operating system, but I'll explain what to do if you are on a Unix-based operating system such as Mac or Linux. First, I'm going to quickly show what to do to verify if you have tried already installing Python, if you have done it correctly. So you would go down here and type in CMD if you're a Windows user to get your command prompt, and if you're on a Mac or Linux, you would go to your Finder or whatever it is you do to search your system settings and type in terminal. A little black icon should pop up, and you click on that and it should look something like this. So for Windows users, you're going to type in Python -- version, and it should display Python 3. Whatever you downloaded. For this class, anything 3.9 or newer is perfectly okay. Alternatively, for Windows users, I- version should work. Sometimes if Python is not recognized, Py will be recognized if you have downloaded it correctly. I'm actually not sure why it is, but it's weirdly system dependent. And for Mac users, you would type in Python 3 -- version. The reason you do this is because Python is pre-installed on Mac machines. However, it is an old version of Python 2, so you do need to specify that you're wanting to use Python 3. Obviously, Python was not found. This means Python is not installed or not installed correctly. If you have already installed Python and you're unable to get to the version of Python to be displayed, you obviously have downloaded something. I would recommend you go into your system settings and delete everything that has to do with Python, such as the launcher, the installer, whatever the stuff that you downloaded was, so you can start from scratch. Obviously, I haven't downloaded Python yet, so everything's not found yet, so we're going to start from scratch now. If you were able to find and display the Python version there, then... Sorry, I've got to run my cat in real quick, he's meowing. Where was I? So if you were able to get the Python version to show up with those commands in your terminal or command prompt, feel free to skip ahead a couple minutes, because now I'm going to walk through how to actually download Python. Sorry, my cat just is walking around me now. Okay, so first things first, download Python. You can Google download Python, or you can go to a link in this week's lab slides. Both the lab and lecture are on the same Blackboard account, so everything's all in one place. And the link will take you here to a python.org/downloads page, and it should be able to recognize your operating system. In this case, it's Windows. Do want to quickly verify that, but it shouldn't be wrong. And then you'll click download Python. For Mac users, it should say for Mac. For Linux, it should say for Linux. An executable will pop up. You will click on that. And for Windows users, this is the most important step in this entire video. You need to click Add Python to Path so you can use it in your command prompt. This is not a step needed for Mac users, but it's very important for Windows users. So now you're going to click Install Now and just sort of walk through the process, click Yes, etc. You're going to wait for that to download. I wouldn't suggest changing any of where you download Python, any of those paths, because it could cause a lot of headache in the future if you try to change the default paths these are installed in. So here we are, it's almost done being set up. The next step, I'm just going to quickly verify that I have downloaded Python. Okay, so setup was successful. So if you clicked disable path limit, that's not detrimental, but there's no point to, so I'm just going to click close. And now just really quickly to verify that I've downloaded it correctly, I'm going to click CMD. Click enter, and then I'm going to type in Python -- version. It should display the Python version. Again, py -- version. If that does not work, for you Windows users and for Mac users, it's Python 3 -- version, which won't work on Windows because that's not a Windows command. But this should show up if you were downloading for Mac. Now, in this case, if you typed in Python -- version and you got this error message, but when you typed in py -- version, you got this, that means py is your command. They're all the exact same commands. However, they are system dependent, so every single time you see a professor or somebody say to type in Python or Python 3 in your command prompt, you use py. So, next step is to download a text editor. I personally use Visual Studio Code because I think it's awesome, but it is recommended in this course that Windows users go for Notepad++, and Mac users go for BBEdit. So again, I'm just going to walk through this real quick. Notepad++, you just Google that, click on the first one, that's on the notepad++.org website. You go to current version and click download. Again, these should all be free. They might have some sort of add-ons or paid for versions, but just don't do anything. Just keep it as vanilla as possible. You could potentially break something to make it not work. For BBEdit, you're going to click on the first barebonessoftware.com website link, and again, do not do the buy BBEdit now. It's the free download that you should be doing, and just walk through the installation process. It should look something like this. Notepad++ looks like this as well. It's just very vanilla text editor. So now that we have done all of the downloading we need, we can start the actual coding part of this. Really quickly, I would like to describe what your terminal is, terminal/command prompts. I'm going to quickly bring it up here, as well as my file explorer here, because this is what you're interacting with in your command prompts. So in your command prompts, when you first open it, unless you have changed the default path should be your kind of root directory, you can view it as. Whereas you're kind of looking at this view right now, you can access OneDrive, you can go into your PC, your network, stuff like that. Now, all my work I keep in my OneDrive, so it's backed up in case my computer explodes. So I can go into my OneDrive. So when I type CD, which is change directory, into my OneDrive, it is case specific, so you need a capital O and a capital D. You can type in the first couple letters like I did there. I just typed in the O-N and click tab, and it will autocomplete for saving time. You click enter, and as you can see, my path has changed from users ridge to users ridge OneDrive. I'm now inside users, inside ridge, inside OneDrive. That is my path. So what I can see now is I can see everything in here. So if I was to type in dir, it would list out everything in here, except, this is alphabetical order. It will list out everything in here. This is now what I'm seeing in here. I am actually quickly going to open up git bash, which is, if I can type, okay, git bash, which is a Unix-based thing that can be used on Windows, just so you guys can see for you Unix users like Mac and Linux. The first thing I would do is, similarly to this, I would go to my OneDrive. So my path isn't automatically displayed like it is in Windows here, and in order to see my path, I would type in pwd, and now it will show that I am in the same path as here. So next, I want to let's just create a simple folder in my OneDrive, and I'm going to save it directly to my desktop. In order to do this, it's the same exact process here. You would do make dir. This is make directory space, let's just call this computer science. Now, this is actually a pretty good example, because if you wanted to name it computer science with a space, you're going to need to wrap it in quotations if you have that space, or else it will see computer and science as two different directories and make two folders. So I'm going to say computer science. I wanted to save that into my desktop. So I'm going to first cd to my desktop. So as you can see now, I'm at the level of my desktop, and I'm going to, let's actually click on the desktop and go into there. As you can see, there's nothing on my desktop right now. However, I'm in my desktop here. If I was to make directory computer science and click enter, boom, we now have a folder here called computer science. So this is what we're interacting with. And I'm going to go ahead and cd into my computer science folder. Again, I type the first couple letters and click enter. Again, if I also wanted to cd into this folder, I would have to wrap it in quotes. Anything with spaces needs to be put in quotes. So now I'm in my computer science folder. That pretty much is kind of the gist of all you should really know about the command prompts right now. You will be using this to test files throughout the semester, so become very familiar with it. I guess the last thing I would like to say about this is that if you want to list out things within a directory like I did here, for instance, I want to list out my OneDrive for the Unix-based operating system, that's LS. That's just going to list out everything here. It does look slightly different than here, but it is ultimately listing out the same information. And then if you just have a bunch of stuff here and you want to clear this up so you just have a cleaner place to type, you type in clear for you Unix-based users and CLS for you Windows-based users. So now let us actually start coding. So you're going to open up Notepad++, BBEdit, or whatever you want. Again, you can have any text editor you want. You can have, PyCharm, really anything, whatever you're comfortable with, as long as you don't have any extensions or quote-unquote more powerful IDEs, because those can kind of code for you, and often, especially when you're a new user, you haven't coded before, you're going to end up doing some things maybe that shouldn't be done in this course, ultimately getting honor coded, you won't be learning properly. There's just an infinite list of why you should not get like actually powerful IDEs to do your coding in. It's just going to be a very vanilla thing. So once you have it open, it might look something like this or might not, but you want to go up here to File and go to New File or New Text File. Just click New Text File because, and then you want to immediately go back up to File and go to Save As. And I'm going to save it in that computer science directory I just made. So I'm going to go to Desktop and then Computer Science. And now I'm inside this folder, and I want to change the name of it to my GMUID _ my lab section _ lab 0. Now the most important thing while naming this is that you add a .py at the end. This will automatically convert this file to a Python file. It will tell your computer this is in Python. Also, like alternatively, if you said Java or C, those would be Java or C files. But as soon as I do this, I click enter. It doesn't matter here that it says plain text. This py will override it. Just go click save, and it will automatically change to Python. As you can see, this is now has the Python symbol here. So I'm just going to do a quick hello world. I'm going to click Control S to save, or Command S, obviously on Mac. And now that this is saved, I can start running my code here. I'm going to X out of this because it's the exact same process here. Actually, I'm going to X out of it completely so I can start fresh, show you guys how the steps that need to be done here. So now that we're at this step, we have Python downloaded, we have a text editor that has code saved as a Python file, and we want to run it. So we're going to be writing all of our code in our text editor and running that code via the command prompt or terminal. The very first step to do this is to actually get into the same location as this file. If I was to just type in Python and then the file name right now, it would not do anything. Something else I saw a lot of you guys do in the lab is you would just type in Python, hit enter, and you would start seeing these 3 carets here. Alternatively, if you just typed in Python 3 and clicked enter, and as a Mac user in your terminal, you would see the same thing. Whenever you see these 3 carets, you're in a self-contained Python shell, and you can't actually do anything like change your directory or stuff like that, like interact with the rest of your computer. You're just coding basic Python here, which isn't very useful. So you can hit Control Z and click enter, or you can type in exit to get out of here, and now we're back to the path. The path we want to copy is actually going to be displayed in all of your text editors right up here. So as you can see right now, I'm in Users Ridge and also Users Ridge right here, and I need to go into my OneDrive, into my desktop, into my computer science folder where this thing is. So as I showed you before, you can do CD OneDrive, click enter, you can do CD desktop, click enter, and then you can do CD computer science and click enter. But alternatively, I can actually show you guys how to go back directories too. You can type in cd ... If I wanted to go back 2 directories, you go cd ... / and we're back to where we were originally. You can also string CDs together. So if I just wanted to go directly to my computer science folder with one line, I can type in cd OneDrive / desktop / computer science. Click enter. And now that I'm in the same location as this file, obviously I can't CD into a file. You can only change directories into directories. Now this is where I'm going to type in Python or PY or Python 3 depending on your system. And then the name of your file. Again, I can type in the first couple letters, hit tab, and it will autocomplete. I'm going to click enter, and it says hello world. I wanted to print something else, like maybe hello there or something like that. I would say hello there. I would make sure I hit Control S to save it, and if I run it again, I can hit the up arrow key and the down arrow key to kind of have my most recent commands called. Click enter, and it changes to hello there. It can change to whatever you want, like pretty quickly. So if I wanted to print 8 plus 23, which should be 31 if my math is right, I hit Control S to save it, hit the up arrow key to call the most recent commands, hit enter, hello there, 31. So again, all you need to do for this specific lab is to type hello world, Control S, just to test it, hello world. And you would submit this PY file to Blackboard. This is very important in terms of like knowing what's going on here, so please ask questions on Piazza or even leave a comment down below, and we'll answer them. You are going to be using this all semester, so I strongly implore you guys to ask questions.